Hi, this is Phil, user PhD21 from the Linux Mint forums. This is a quick tutorial on how to use two of my favorite, absolutely excellent desktop weather applications, gis-weather and myweather-indicator. I'm using Linux Mint 18.1 Serena, the Cinnamon 64-bit desktop, but I also use Linux Mint 18.1 KDE. This is done on the Cinnamon desktop, 64-bit version. One of the members in the Linux Mint forums was having trouble putting in the weather location of their gis-weather. Thus the reason I'm creating this quick tutorial. Anyway, I have 4 virtual desktops set up. On the first desktop, I have the gis-weather application, and on the second one, I have the myweather-indicator application. And I'll start with the gis-weather, setting that up. The instructions for setting that up are in the Linux Mint forum. Of course, you can go to the internet and just type in gis-weather, and you'll find instructions on how to install it from there, or the same thing applies to the my-weather-indicator option as well. Anyway, once you've installed them, they come up on, they'll be in your system tray, and you'll see them on your desktop, and you can just right-click the icon in the system tray panel and click Preferences. When that pops up, you have a lot of different options. One of which is the location. If you click that option, it'll ask you when you initially start it. I've already installed it, but when you initially start it, it'll come up and ask you that as well. So in this instance, I'm going to click Location on the General tab and click Setup. And each weather service has a different method for denoting, indicating which location you are at, and it shows you on the screen. In this case, I'm using AccuWeather.com, but there are different ones. I mean, you've got AccuWeather and come on. Okay, for some reason it's on AccuWeather. It shows you a link where you can click to enter in your city. Now, this person happened to be in New Zealand. I happen to be in Sarasota, Florida right now. So I'm going to put in their location, hit enter. And then in the link it'll show you the location. So if you click in that link, and it says right here underneath the information it wants is the country code, the city code, and the numeric references to the city code and the forecast code. So what you can do is go up here to the link and click where your country code starts. and hold down the Shift key and right arrow key and highlight the rest of it. Then you can copy that. You can either right click and copy or Control Insert. I'm just going to right click and copy. Then you click back on your location code, click in the city code, put that in there. But keep in mind that it's showing you what it wants right here. And it doesn't, it only wants a comma between the city code and the forecast code, not the text that says weather forecast. So I have to go over here to the city code, delete the backslash and the text for weather code, and put in a comma, just like the format they showed right here. Then I can hit add and see how it adds that right there. I'm going to remove the previous code, and then you can just click close and reload, and it should pop up right there. Now there's other preferences and settings depending on your location, stuff like that. You can have it auto start at login. You can either you can click that on or add it through your startup applications. You can limit it to a particular desktop or all desktops. There are various services. I don't know how to say it, Gizmeto or Gizmeto. There's 4 different weather services, and each one has a different option on how they select their city code, and the icons and the text that you will see is different. So you might want to try each one to see which works best for you and your location. Most of these options you don't need to change, but you do have to change your location and your language if you use a different language other than English. Click on units. Because I'm in the US, I want Fahrenheit instead of Celsius, but you could put Celsius in there. Miles per hour instead of kilometers per hour, but you can obviously change these. And I prefer a different date separator format that shows up, and then I swap the day and the month. But that's user configurable. And the window, you don't really need to change anything here. I turn off the lock position because I want to be able to move it wherever I want. If you're having a problem moving the what they call the desktop widget, the graphics around, then turn off the lock position. On the view, there's some good options in here. I want to be able to. You can turn on whether it shows the wind or not. I like to have that, so I turn that on. You can have this, whether it shows the sunrise times and moonrise times, chance of rain. I turn that on. I turn off the retrieval time because I don't want to. It'll show you when it retrieves the information. You can turn it on or off whether you want the splash screen. Now most of these options under the appearance tab you don't need to mess with. I don't. And the indicator, I changed to show the widget and the indicator, so it shows up in my system tray and on the desktop. And again, you don't really have to change any of this, but you can mess around with it if you want to. Now, going back to the General tab, and it shows down here in the system tray, various options too, which I'll get to in a moment. Going back to the weather, though, I'll pick one of the other weather services to show you. Okay, now I picked GIS Medio or gis-weather. If I click the setup option on that, notice it has a different method. I can click this link here, search for the city I'm interested in, and all I have to do is copy that number code. and put that in here. If I pick a different one, open weather map, and I click the setup location, it's the same thing. It only wants the weather code, but it also wants a thing called the API key. Now if you click how to get the API key, you can put that in as well. You can research that and stick that in there. I don't use that option. And then there's the YR, and you can click the setup key. Now in this case, you can click the link up top, search for your location, and obviously it highlights, it shows you here, it wants this information from this part of the information from that link. So you can just highlight that, copy that, and put it in the city code, and click add, and then hit close and reload the selected option. Now I'm leaving mine where it was. On AccuWeather, because that's the one I like. So that's how to set up GIS weather. And you can see it has some really awesome graphics. And if you right click this, you can change that. You can right click it, go to preferences, I meant to you can just right click the desktop icon, and there's many different presets. The default preset, a small preset, a wood one, that's nice. And you can right click that and then say, hey, I want colorful icons, and then so I mean, it's very configurable. A no paper one. Come here. And a couple compact ones. Now my personal favorites in this happen to be the wood or the no paper. And it gives you a lot of really good information. Okay, now I'm going to the my-weather-indicator, another favorite of mine. It also has an icon down in the system tray panel in the lower right. Their icon produces a lot more information, and that changes depending on which service you use as well. As I just right clicked it, you can see it gives you a lot of different information, including options for clicking the forecast. Get very detailed information regarding that. Pardon me. A forecast map. I mean, it's pretty impressive. Now, let's check out how to add your location. Now, it has an auto location option. I don't use that. But you could put in your location. This user is in New Zealand, so I'm copying that location. I say search for location. Click OK. I could even put in a second location if I want to. Again, you've got weather services, Open Weather Map, Yahoo, Wonderground, Online Weather. In this case, I'm just using the Open Weather Map. And I click OK. Notice it gave me change here, and it should pop up with the and here it is, showing New Zealand. Now again, there's various formats, display options. You can just right click it, go to preferences, and down here you can choose whether it's on all desktops or just one desktop. Because I'm using multiple desktops and I like to have both weather widgets, I turn off use on all desktops. Now next to the right of that is the various display options, including a medium one, which if I click that, okay. It's a nice small desktop widget. If I go back to preferences, I can click little. There's one called little, so I'll stick that in there. I'm just going through the various display options to show you. That's a nice one. Super is the one they call Super is one of my favorite ones, which is right here. It's got a nice digital clock and the forecast for days. Anyway, you can obviously see how easy it is to choose which desktop widget that you want to see. And of course you can move it around. Now some of them may not, like in this case, I don't particularly care for this. This one, it's not displaying properly. It might on your system, but obviously this particular desktop widget called Simple did not display properly, but the others display great. I happen to like this, the one called Super. So I'm going back to that one. And as you can see, so on my virtual desktop or workspace 1, I use my gis-weather. On my second workspace or second virtual desktop, I'm using the my weather indicator. Anyway, I hope that helps with some of you on setting up and using two terrific weather applications. Have a great day.